All right, in this last example, we are asked to evaluate using the graph, or I should say use the graphs to evaluate. And over here to the left, I have f of x, and to the right, I have g of x. Okay, so parts A, B, and C is what I'm being asked to evaluate using these graphs. And notice what I did down here is just make a table. Okay, so the coordinates of f are in this table, the coordinates of g are in this table. Okay, so hopefully I copied that down correctly. And if I want to find, notice a bunch of these A, B, and C have the inverse symbol. If I want to find f inverse of 0, right? Well, if I already have the original table or set of coordinates for the original f function, I can also get the coordinates for my f inverse. In fact, let's just make a table for f inverse of x, right? So -3, -4 becomes -4, -3, and so forth. -2, -3 is -3, -2. This is 0, -1. This is 1, 0, right? So all the coordinates interchanged over there. Let's do that with g as well. If I have the original coordinates for g, I can also have the inverse coordinates for g, right? -3, 3 becomes 3, -3, and so forth. 2, 0, 0, 2, and -3, 3. Once you have the table right, you don't even need to look at the graph anymore. You can just start evaluating. Okay, so for part A, f inverse of 0, right? So I look at my inverse table. When x is 0 over here, right? F inverse of 0 is just -1. And I'm done. What about part B? Part B, if you remember, right, this is your function composition. I always thought this notation looked a little bit confusing. But hopefully you're getting used to it. This really means f of g inverse of 2, right? That's what this means, okay? So I need to figure out what g inverse of 2 is. Well, g inverse of 2, right, if I look at my table, g inverse of 2 is just 0. So that means I need to figure out what f of 0 is. And f of 0, right, I could look at my table over here. F of 0 is just equal to 1. Okay, so as simple as that, just by reading it, once you have the table in front of you, it's not that bad. All right, let's finish up part C. Part C asks us to find, I don't know if you can still read it, f inverse of g inverse of 3, right? So I would write it like this, f inverse of g inverse of 3. And g inverse of 3, right? I start with the input function. G inverse of 3 would be over here. G inverse of 3 is -3. So I need to figure out what f inverse of -3 is. I go to my inverse table. F inverse of -3 is just -2. Okay, so once you have a table, it's just the process of reading and evaluating. It's not that big of a deal. If you don't make a table